Turning home insulation into headlines, the climate group Insulate Britain bringing roads to a standstill in Essex today, infuriating many, but demanding the government delivers on building back better. The plan to insulate Britain's current housing stock was embarrassingly scrapped by the government earlier this year. Its Green Homes grant scheme was a fiasco.
We will build, build, build. Build back better, build back greener, build back faster.
But what about the 300,000 new homes being promised each year? Are we building back better, well insulated and energy efficient? Here on this prestigious new Taylor Wimpey estate in Harrogate, in a brand new house with a price tag of over £600,000, you'd have thought so. We're using smoke to represent how heat leaves the house.
You can see it's coming out all along that roof line and the downstairs window from under the windowsill there. But the amount of smoke that's going through there, you can imagine how much heat can potentially just flow out of that house.
Totally, yeah. You can literally see it escaping before your eyes.
Yeah.
Marion, at 82 years old, bought this home thinking it was her dream place. But her experience was a nightmare, as her daughter explains.
First night in her new home, she had to reach for her hat and gloves because there were so many drafts coming from the walls behind her head, and she was freezing cold.
Take a look at this. Brand new fitted windows. Look at the draft. Speaks for itself, really. Now, this is where Marion was sleeping, or attempting to.
Yes, yeah. You can see all this blue in the wall there. That's airflow behind the dry lining, again behind the plasterboard.
Paul is an energy efficiency consultant who investigates new houses across the country. Now, you would expect some blue, let's be realistic,
yeah, you would
on
get
any window.
Bit, but it should be relatively minor. That wall there in that corner,
yeah.
You see there's missing insulation above, and then where the dry lining hasn't been sealed, you've got this airflow just pouring down behind the dry lining in the walls.
Where you've got so much airflow in a building behind the plasterboard, you've got potential for fire spread. We had to go out and buy her a fire blanket, and she slept with that next to her every night she was here.
Then there's the concern over whether the house is protected against the poisonous gas radon.
There should be a radon barrier in this house. It's a high radon area.
Right.
It needs full radon protection. There clearly isn't, because smoke can get through it.
Marion didn't feel comfortable or safe, and so she's moved out. Her family are now asking Taylor Wimpey to buy the house back. Taylor Wimpey say, "We're satisfied that the correct radon protection measures have been installed. We're confident that the home was built in accordance with the building regulations and technical standards. A permeability test was undertaken which demonstrated the home is outperforming the intended design criteria." Another new build, this time in Buckinghamshire, with one homeowner's experience on a Bovis estate.
It was our dream home. We invested everything that we had in it. We expected a few snags, but it was a brand new home. We expected it to be perfect.
Unable to get their new home warm and with a severe condensation problem, the family resorted to cutting holes in the walls to find out what was going wrong.
I bought myself a little oscillating saw and I cut out around all of these channels, which is ridiculous. I'm cutting out pieces of my home to prove to the builder that there's still a problem.
Bovis have attempted to fix the issues and told us a National House Building Council resolution report finalised earlier this month confirms we completed work to comply with their technical requirements and concluded no further action was required. We are one of the first national house builders to start the delivery of new homes achieving net zero regulated carbon emissions. The homeowner is waiting to see whether this winter the house stays warm. But this isn't just a problem with an individual house or an individual developer. We've spoken to a number of homeowners who've bought brand new houses from other big-named builders and have had very similar issues with drafty, cold houses.
What's really frustrating about housing in this country is that we have every technical solution to build zero carbon, really high quality homes that meet people's needs over their whole lifetime. Do it tomorrow, if the government had the will to do it.
Well, 6 years ago, the Tory government scrapped the net zero housing policy, which was due to come into force, saying they wanted to cut regulations on house builders. Since then, almost 2 million homes have been built.
The volume house builders are making huge amounts of money, 20–25% profit margins, and they have an enormous amount of influence over government as a result.
Recently published data shows that property sector donors have contributed almost £18 million to the Conservative Party since Boris Johnson became Prime Minister. That's nearly a quarter of all donations.
Housing is a huge contributor to our greenhouse gas emissions. It's about 14% in total of our current emissions. So, if we're going to get to net zero, getting our homes to zero is really critical.
Here in Oxfordshire, Greencore's Springfield Meadow Estate is showing how we could be building back better. Houses which are both net zero to build and highly insulated and energy efficient to run.
It reduces right down the amount of energy that you need to actually run the house, so that the solar panels on the roof provide enough electricity to run the house all year round.
Which is certainly useful as our gas and electricity bills rise.
There's absolutely no reason why we can't scale this up across the country.
So why aren't we? Why are we still waiting for the government's long-anticipated Future Home Standard to come into force?
Government needs to bring forward that zero carbon homes standard. It needs to up the standard and it needs to demonstrate that we are really committed to making sure that we reduce our emissions in the UK.
A government spokesman told us from 2025 the Future Home Standard will ensure that new houses produce at least 75% lower emissions and will be future-proofed with low carbon heating and high levels of energy efficiency. As hosts of the vital climate summit in Glasgow next month, the government needs to persuade the world to sign up to ambitious net zero targets. As one famous teen recently said,
"Build back better, blah, blah, blah."
We now need actions at home to speak louder than our words.